They laughed the moment she walked into the room, not loudly, not cruelly enough to be called out, but softly, comfortably, the kind of laughter people use when they believe they are unquestionably superior. The kind that comes from certainty. The kind that freezes later, right in the throat, when certainty collapses. She stood there in a faded janitor's uniform, hands rough from chemicals and night shifts, eyes tired from years of doing everything alone. No one imagined that within the next few hours, she would solve the very problem that had defeated the brightest minds in the building. No one imagined that the woman they barely noticed would change everything. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the hidden strength inside ordinary people, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that greatness often arrives in the most unexpected ways. Her name was Mara, and she cleaned floors in one of the city's most prestigious research institutes. Every night, after the last white coats left and the lights dimmed, she pushed her cart down long hallways that smelled of disinfectant and ambition. She learned the building by heart, every echo, every locked door, every poster celebrating breakthroughs she could never afford to dream about. She arrived when success went home and left before it returned in the morning. That was how her life worked too. Always arriving late to opportunity, always leaving early for responsibility. At home waited her son, a quiet boy with curious eyes who fell asleep on the couch most nights, homework spread across his chest. His father had disappeared years ago, leaving behind silence and bills. Mara became everything at once: provider, protector, comforter, teacher. She learned how to stretch meals, how to stretch patience, how to stretch herself. What she did not forget was who she used to be. Before the uniforms and the exhaustion, she had loved numbers. Patterns made sense when people did not. Logic felt honest in a world that rarely was. Life had interrupted her education, but it had not erased her mind. During her shifts, she listened. Scientists talked when they thought no one important was around. They argued about formulas scribbled on glass boards, about models that failed under pressure, about a problem that had stalled a project worth millions. A system instability, a cascading error no one could isolate. Mara wiped tables and replaced trash bags while equations lingered in her thoughts long after the room was empty. She replayed them while scrubbing floors, while riding the bus home, while packing her son's lunch before dawn. She never spoke up. She knew how the world worked. Janitors cleaned. Scientists solved. People like her stayed invisible. So she stayed quiet and kept thinking. Then one morning, everything changed. An emergency meeting filled the main hall. Funding was at risk. Years of work teetered on the edge of collapse. The system had failed again, this time publicly, spectacularly. Screens showed error after error, red lines where answers should have been. Panic hummed beneath forced professionalism. Mara was there because she always was, mopping near the back, eyes lifted more often than her hands. As the experts circled the problem, she saw it clearly. Not a missing variable, not a faulty assumption, but an overlooked constraint, something so basic it had been dismissed early on. Her chest tightened as understanding clicked into place. She felt the familiar fear rise, the warning voice telling her to stay in her lane, to remember who she was in their eyes. Someone noticed her staring. A comment was made, light and dismissive. A reminder that this was not her concern. Laughter followed, the same quiet laughter as before. But the solution burned inside her, refusing to fade. She thought of her son struggling with homework, afraid to raise his hand in class because kids laughed when he got answers wrong. She thought of all the times she had swallowed her voice. Something shifted. She stepped forward, hands shaking, words tumbling out faster than confidence could stop them. She explained what she saw, how the equations ignored a real-world limit, how the instability wasn't random but inevitable under the current assumptions. She spoke simply, without jargon, because she had learned to translate complexity into survival. The room stilled, not in belief, but in surprise. They laughed again at first. Softer now, uncertain. Then someone tested her idea. Numbers changed. Lines on the screen straightened. A second test confirmed it. The room went silent, the kind of silence that feels heavy, stunned. Faces froze mid-expression as realization spread. The problem that had resisted them for months unraveled in minutes. Mara stood there, suddenly aware of her uniform, of the bucket at her feet, of her heart pounding like it wanted to escape. No one laughed now. They asked her questions, careful ones, respectful ones. She answered as best she could, drawing from memory, instinct, and years of quiet thinking. By the time the meeting ended, the project was back on track, and Mara's life was no longer invisible. Change did not arrive all at once. There were forms to fill, credentials to verify, disbelief to overcome. But something fundamental had shifted. She was invited to stay, to learn, to contribute. Someone helped arrange childcare. Someone else asked about her past, her interrupted education. Doors that had been locked by assumption began to open, slowly, creaking under the weight of humility. At home, she told her son what happened, not as a victory, but as a lesson. That being underestimated did not mean being incapable. That silence could be broken. He listened wide-eyed, pride blooming where fear once lived. For the first time, he talked about his own dreams without shrinking them. Mara worked harder than ever, balancing study with shifts, exhaustion with purpose. She stumbled, doubted herself, nearly quit more than once. Old voices echoed, telling her she did not belong. But new ones rose too, quieter but steadier, reminding her that she had already solved what others could not. Months later, she stood in the same hall, this time not holding a mop, but presenting findings that carried her name. The applause felt unreal, almost undeserved, until she remembered every night she had earned it in silence. She scanned the room and saw respect where laughter once lived. Not because she demanded it, but because she revealed truth. If this story is touching your heart, if it reminds you of someone who has been overlooked or underestimated, please take a moment to like this video, share it with others, and let us know your thoughts. Your engagement helps stories like this reach the people who need them most. Mara never forgot where she started. She greeted the night staff by name, listened when others talked over them, advocated for opportunities where none had existed. Success did not harden her, it softened her. She understood now how close brilliance often lived to despair, separated only by a chance to be seen. The institute prospered, but more importantly, it changed. Quietly at first, then openly. Assumptions were questioned, voices were invited, and somewhere in the background, a boy did his homework with confidence, knowing that his mother's mind had once stopped a room full of laughter cold. Before the story ends, we have a special request. Please comment the words, "I believe in hidden potential," if you believe that greatness can come from anywhere, from anyone, at any time. Because the truth is, the world is full of Maras. People cleaning floors while carrying solutions in their hearts. People laughed at until the moment they solve what no one else could. And sometimes, all it takes is one brave step forward to turn laughter into silence, and silence into awe.